Operation signals and position locations, ops centers, psych ops, communication line, rotation. It's all about understanding how to set up perimeters, security defense line centers, and position location and directions. Now you have your 12 DNA line center interference. It's offline connections. What's going to happen in position location is going to be 3 moon surface and high channel line center. You have to learn how to set position location and its directions. High line and rotation lines of 12 A line position Mexican Central Standard Time high system locations. It's all about balancing the emotional track interference. 3,000 line connections of moon, 6,000 program locations is Wi-Fi positions modem line system, and 9,000 line connections of view through track system. The high position location on all levels of view is a metric interference. Now it sets up a planning system locations. It's coming into a game center, a new operation line system. It's going to track interference to all programs and communication line system. I9 operation line center, 001 line center, identification code line center times pi times calculation. Modify signals and position code signals. Open all communication line system. Rotation line centers, 5 to 10 minutes, we get started. High interference location is all levels of view, how you use your calculation modification signals. It's all about using your measures, securing measures and program setting. You really have to get balanced with the emotional track locations. It's mostly understanding these things, guys, because you guys have the power within, power with B, power of the communication of the mind, adaptation system. It cycles its high line center to low lines. It comes into cluster interference. Now, cluster interference is location to your thought lines. It all communicates to the program setting. It resets position locations of its perimeters. Now, in position locations, we have the team line center, code signal locations, and crew units and squad unit 1 line center, interference location to the GFLs, and position of rebellion, and is sending master communications to all level ascension codes. Setting code signal locations online. Now, they recognize the generalized centers to all level position location of directions through its vibration. So that's what school is all about, is recognizing you through vibration. This is a new communication cycle that's setting high line centers and position of directions. Okay, 5,000 channels, 5,000 activation line streams, and 5,000 locations. Right? That's 555, 5 location line centers and position of directions. So in high center, it's to understand how to set up a new matrix program to skyline. It's a communication and matrix grid line system. This is an archetype division location where it changes all levels of view. Okay. Position of direction is to understand how you use box position locations of times pi. Now it's all calculated and modified. Welcome all to the new viewers that come in and channelize centered activation to its divergence. It's to understand why it's in a particle system, why I say 7 days into the avatar, just to get comfortable. After that, you're welcome to come into your GC unit. That opens all position location of its directions, puts you more levels of the memory. But a lot of people want to high rise faster. You can't do that. You got to go through the same process just like everybody else. You go from page to page. You don't go from 1 page line center and skip position to 50 page line rotations going into 100,000 line conditions of pages. You can't do that. You got to go from page to page to page to page to page to page to page. This is the process that you all have to understand. Okay, everybody goes to this same position of timeline system. This puts you in a high line center interference location and memories. And who you become to its division location is that high system. All right. So in calculations, it's all modified through your location. So when you see the 3 moon line track locations, try to understand the information locations, 3,000, 6,000, 9,000 lines, 369,000 plateaus. Coming into the rainbow children, interference location of its divergent line system opens up the light signals in its high line center to your 12 DNA. This positions of your directions and puts you in a higher line centers in communication to heart. Heart recognizes its position location of space and time. This opens up the center operation of you through calculation. This puts you in a more programmed setting of more levels of memory, okay, in its future of its connection line system. Right? Box frequency times equation. Location of equal line center. In position of all lines. All right? All right. High center interference, synthesis location line connections, all levels, crystal stabilizer. Hey, Lauren, how's it going? Pam, how's it going? Lindsay, how's it going? Gypsy, how's it going? High center locations, Jill, Amby, Don, Terry, Johnny, Michael, Belinda, Val. Okay, Chris, let's see. Janice, great to see everybody. Make sure you do pre-flight checks before you take off in high center interference. In position and directions, really understand the pre-flight check locations. Clocking centers, interference location at 24, 48, 72, 144. What division location are you waking up to high center? Okay, so you position locations of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. So you're ready to go, but forgot my grounds. I'm not grounded in the mind line center interference locations. Before I get in that calculations, I have to really understand, check, everything's set, ready to go, right? If nothing is set, ready to go, you have to understand why these things, and that becomes the how. The how is the operation. The why is its conversion location to its position. To understand that, when you come to all levels of the mind, it sequences its patterns, and it opens all lines and position location to its laser direction. That's what it is. All in one position of direction. It's very powerful when you set these things up. You have vortex communication of triangles, vortex communication of star lines, vortex communication of space commands, vortex communication of chambers. It's all levels of U through direction, right? Now, seeing the 3 moon line center interference, this is going to change your 3, 6, and 9 position locations. How you allocate time and switch interference to your thought lines is going to put you in a better force line connections of a positive cycle, all right? So in position of direction, 0, morning, how you doing? It's great to see 0. All right, so as we get in calculations, I'm going to go to high streamline center. Now, we're going to set up a rainbow graph line center interference position, direction, location, high system, Cali communication, alphabetical stream interference, platitude division locations, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y equals flux capacitor. See that? See how I changed position, location, of directions? Went through the whole alphabetical stream, 26 line condition interference positional locations. All right, so travel line centers. In position location, Cali, connection line and rotation interference. Tunnel division locations. Where's T line interference? T line position location and position of directions. Mat sequence patterns. All communications go. High center yields code line interference location line directions. Into high line center, interference position location to intelligence. All right. So this is all modified in high signal. It opens all communication line centers in position to directions. All right, so let's go line center location of Q communication line interference, quadrant line center rotations and quadrant interference, in position location of force line communication. Then we go into our line centers, jumping signals and high interference of directions. Scan line center in position of direction. See the scan line? Comes in communication, walking surface location, line system. Allocate time streams, coloration line interference. In position direction, security perimeter parameters, high line center rotation interference, center op communication system, open alt channel line center, alphabetical stream interference, the code signal line position location and directions, zip zoom outline connections back to the sun. Now in high interference of direction line system, it's opening up all channels, new communication cycles, high interference location line conditions. Now we come into online, okay, Illuminati line center line conditions, all levels. Illumination interference and direction locations, high center line conditions, code signal locations, high position Mason communication line center, rotation interference back and calculation line, line rotation interference. Use the 3 moon line center in position, 4 within system, 5 within activation, 6 within core, 7 in the activation core line center. Retrack interference, 12 DNA line center rotations with 3,000 line conditions, 6,000 pro locations, 9,000 line interference location, and 369 patterns. Circle line position locations, reverse line center, atmosphere location, position of direction line system. Use the total interference line position of directions. Bring up codes and communication line system. Allocate time stream, interference locations. Change the ground line centers. Merge into position location line center locations. Codes, error, high signal, error. Communication, red alert, high center line and position directions. All communications go. Communication initiate high center locations. Calculate modify high line center. Flight navigations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 circles, 12 line center, 12 position locations. Atmosphere change line center. In position locations A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. Flux capacitor, high channel interference location, code signal line and rotation. Travel position of the time center. 30 minutes. Have fun. As you guys are traveling high interference and travel position location like time centers, I'm going to timestamp proceed line rotation to a clock location. It's going to bring up channel interference and position of directions. High interference, high location. Inner line is positioned to its ground lines. Open out communication system, right? Panel line centers, panel operation to its position location. 3 line conditions. So we got unified line center. See the U? The U becomes united. This is how we change the location error. So line conditions. Unified high center locations on line. We go into communication system. Travels line center 369 pattern. It's offline positions. I'm going to fix that. Put a position, location, and directions. 1 line system. Location to a system. All right. Covers 3/4 line system location line conditions. Lock it in system. Now we calculate and modify high stream interference. We change line communications, setting up rainbow graph locations in position to directions. Okay. Now we color this in the high center line condition coloration screen location. We color it in a walking surface location line conditions. All right. Now it's surfacing the high channels. Box line center, communication system, rainbow active stream, correlation line position locations. All right. Now it's channeling high and so many interference. Now we're going to bring in the moon line rotation. Coloration line centers. Now in correlation, we got a moon line center in the center position location of directions. Here's the moon. Okay. That's a moon line center, 5th dimensional location. Fluctuation line condition antenna in position the ground line system, rotation interference, see the intelligence. Setting signal lines interference location is satellites. Satellites coming into high center. See the satellite? Setting signal code line center interference position direction high system. Bring in calculation modification line streams. All communications go. Communication line system, allocate high system. Coloration patterns, rainbow activation children. Moon here position locations in high center. Another coloration comes into a line center. Blue interference location of voice grid locations. There's the 3 moon location line centers. Activate high stream interference and direction line centers. Green means go. Communication line system. Matrix interference line position directions. Open all communication system. Signal position to directions. Right? 3 moon surface coming into line center locations. Into the bio surface. Right? So that's all set up position of directions all through code signal. Identification code streamline center of 001 1111 36912. High center locations. Box position location of directions. High center locations 3, 6, 9, 12 position locations. Taking high position locations, other direction locations into high line center to conditions. Setting signal locations 3, 6, 9, 12. Code signal and position locations, moon 1, moon 2, moon 3. Flux capacitor, high channel and position of directions. High signal and position location, high line center location, Orion's belt. Signal down in rotation, circling position location line conditions into the center operation line position. Setting high interference of directions, energy field location to its direction line interference. Signal at both line center interference. Down in position locations in the center line condition, open all communication cycles, reset line conditions all line in dimensional setting to force line communication of cycle interference. Cycle interference is coming in high rise, communication of security line position locations. Coloration patterns, sun interference location of power lines, all communication line center, Fibonacci sequence of door line center, interference location of directions. Open out communication cycles, reset line conditions, all levels, shape position locations, letters, numbers, and shapes, 26,000 lines. New alphabetical stream interference is set in position locations of bio surface, setting code signal locations into 1 million platforms. Times calculation, 1 billion location line centers. Back in communication line center, in position locations of the 5th dimensional line rotation, 5th light connections to all levels of astral travel connection, in position of directions. All right? That's what's happening right now. So let's go in the core line center interference location lines. Okay, blue line centers, all levels. Box interference of green and blue. Position of directions, setting signals in the high center. Okay, so it's truly saying how to channel its position of direction. Okay, so it's a reversing triangle, high line center. Triangle is in downshift locations, 3, 6, and 9, setting new signal location of its position. 12 is in the center. 12 high rise into the center line position locations equals line center. 12 equals line center 24. 24 comes in position location of its directions. Okay, high rises division locations of 48, 72 to 144 crystal grid location. Set and division line center in direction locations into its ground line interference to a new plateau of a high channel line center to a rotation spin cycle and an activation high line center to a flux capacitor high interference location of directions. Set and signal location. Done through equation. So it's amazing how things are set up in high interference, because if you look really, really close, you'll see the tree formation coming into a rainbow stream. See, that's it. There's a tree. It's all set in signal, color in high center, T reception line connections, all reverberation locations, see alphabetical line interference, code signal high center line rotation, color its position location of tree formation location of its position line system. There it is. Done through equation. All right, so it's set in signal, set in rotation line position, redirecting high centers, communication line, geometry interference. Now, geometry interference comes in high channel. Now, the geometrics of U is shape position, and all levels of U in geographical location is your GPS line. That opens all communication line interference. That puts position of directions to high system location. But what we just set up is a new tree foundation of a new T reception line center at 3 moon locations. It's all set up. All right, so that was fun. Now, in position of directions, just show you look at this situation here, because what's happening right now? Everything we've done through equation is gone. It's gone. It's not there anymore. So it's interesting how we look at these things. The only thing that stands on point of location line connection is the tree formation, which goes back in high center line locations of its reference high interference location to its 3 triangulation of its moons. All right? So it's amazing how we set up coordinates. Woo! Beautiful stuff. All right. But you notice too, because you can't see it anymore, right? You can't see it anymore. Where is the position location of its directions? Studied signals. So it's all about understanding how to set up locations of U through 369 patterns. 369 plateau interference location of T reception lines are now in a full communication of a new cyclone line center line connections to a T reception of a tree formation coming into the birth line centers to all perception locations of Gardens of Eden. New structure or major line center location of perception. All right. Now, if you look really close, you can see 2 intelligent lines. See the nose? See the nose? 2 intelligent split line interference. This is the brain capacity high center location of left and right hemisphere and line position location of perception. Putting you guys in high center line conditions, all levels, and the awakened location through TV reception line. That's what this is, guys. It's all position location of its direction. And this generalizes its line centers and all communication system. That's why it's so powerful when you're clocking line center. Clocking interference, clocking interference, clocking interference, clocking interference, clocking interference. 5 position locations, 24. You come into 48. You come into 72. You come into 144 in position locations. Now, this is where it high rises line centers and the line connections to its tree formation, to its calculation. See the intelligence? 24, 48, 72, 144. The center up line center line conditions of the levels is set in signals. This is where it comes into the ground line center and position locations, flux capacitor high center locations of 1, 2, and 3 moon location. Right? Wow. It's all set in signals. Very powerful what we just finished doing. So, yeah, I know. Rainbow illumination and tunnel system. They can't tolerate the light, watching the stream towards portals and portals that deactivate. Yes. I did this all through the alphabetical stream system locations. You have to understand the universal line centers of 26 letters, right? Which is 26,000 code locations. So understanding that position location of directions, understanding location through its calculation. But it's amazing how you set things up through all lines, code signals, graph interference, program setting, all position location of direction through its computer interference. It all communicates to all levels of U through its hemisphere of its connection. Hemisphere, hemisphere. Intelligence, intelligence. So the grass line center, interference position of the grounds of the root location, is position of directions now. 12 signals to 12 DNA line center. Hemisphere location to intel locations. All right. So you got hemispheres of the right and the female line system locations of balance in the 3-moon location. So that's all set up. So as we come into triangle force line, we basically set line center location and inference to a new sun line in communication to triangulation to a formation location as calculations, setting new coordinate location to its position. Tracking centers in position, location, and direction. Right? Opening up new signals, plateaus to new Orion's belt location to its position. Setting out signal panels and communication line system, rotation, interference, and position of directions. All right? Opening up new channel line center and interference location to the ground line center, to the cyclone location, to its position of direction. Coming in high channel line center to its intelligent location. Ooh-ah. See? It's all set up. Now, you understand line condition interference and position of location looks like Spider-Man. So it's all set up. It's all set up the code signal. It's all set up the dimensional line center in position location to its antenna, the high force line. Communication interference of directional location, sending out new plasma channels. Now we start with the ground line centers. Webbing system locations of its orbs, open communication to its new portal location to its position of direction. High channel in its high line center, crossing signals to all levels. Coloration line in position, location, and directions. Okay. Crossing over to high line center to a computer operation system location. So to understand how to set these things up is all levels of view through conversion, right? But it's important you understand how to set these things up and also baseline. So beyond Einstein, Spider-Man, Einstein. Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is. That's a unified location of a new intelligent location. Right? Intelligence, intelligence, intelligence. So you get two membrane line center, interference location, the center line conditions into the birth line center to the Gardens of Eden, position of your perception. So everybody's Earth perception line center is the birth line center location of 3-moon interference, where it's supposed to be in division location to its calculations. Setting signal locations into all levels and deleting all line center to its program interference of its past relation location that never existed. Delete, delete, delete. Signal off high center line conditions, all levels. In position off line direction. Signal off from high center in position of directions. So that's what's happened. We have to get used to it now because we're in a new atmosphere line center. We're in a new rotation line grass rotation interference. Roots and communication system. Grounds and formation line centers. Air and all levels. Traffic interference and position of direction, which is all merging into one location. Right? So it's mostly understanding how these things are set up for you to get in the position to its unified of its heart line. Communication to its formation puts you at all levels of division location to its calculations. Right? This opens all levels of view more and more and more each day. Really understand how to use your thought lines, how to use your location to its portal interference, how to understand the vortex communication system. What am I doing through track line center? What's going on through the thought interference? What's happening with the activation stream? Why am I connecting to a data process line center that I don't understand its position, location, and directions? So the high channel location of the sentient gods and the ascending locations, and the GFLs and the squads and locations to the crew line interference. You guys have to learn how to basically communicate more inside and try to release these programs. So communicate to its position of directions. So it's kind of like, your pre-flight checks. That's great, but that's going forward. But what about coming back in position location? Wait a minute. I didn't set my position location offlines. Let's put it back in calculation. But I did my pre-flight checks before I traveled. So always use position location as reference. Never use it in forced communication because that brings you in an outline channel. Now, it's a rotation system. How many digital platforms did you calculate to modify to its high system? Is it calculated to modify to the 26,000 line connections of the alphabetical stream interference? Or is it plateaued location to its high center to its digital frame location? How many times have you channeled in operation line center to your clocking locations? How much balance do you have in your heart reactor line center? How much thought patterns are you calculating to the negative and the positive cycle location to its spectrum of its communication system? Okay. So you have to truly understanding what's going on with the adaptation system. It's all connected to your thought lines, okay, coming into higher formation locations. So now you have to deal with 3 position locations of the moon lines into all levels of Schumann resonance, 3 different vibration line centers into 1 position location. All right. So that's a lot of moon surface of emotion. Stay in the center line condition heart reactor interference, and you'll be totally fine. Moon position locations on left and moon position locations on right, and 1 in center line. 3, 6, and 9. Okay. That's where everybody has to come back to. The back is position of future line. Communication line interference of direction locations. 500,000 line channel locations of sleep deprivation. High interference location to all levels. Tubes interference position locations. All right. Electrical lights, electrical panels, electrical interference. Panel line center. Packing communication line system rotation to its position of timelines. Open all communication line system rotation to its interference. Open all communication to high line center locations of 369 platform communication system. This puts you in a better diversion location of its tactic view. How to use it through perception is all levels of view through emotion, right? So this is going to balance more your thought lines and put you more in the positive line rotation interference. So you're not just dealing with 1 position locations in left and right now. You're dealing with 3 locations, different Schumann resonant locations, different coloration, right? So you have to understand everything in electronic line center line condition interference locations has its membrane location of its brain computer. The communication line center line and rotation interference is basically put direction to you. So think of it this way. You got 3 moon line centers and interference locations. That's 3 information panels that's given to you thought lines. You're not just communicating with 1 moon, you're now communicating with 3. Okay, let me say that again. You're now communicating with 3 moon locations and 1 sun line center, which is the center operation. Okay, so this is the plasma channel that changes high lines. It opens all communication cycles and reset line center locations to better thought locations and through an acceleration line center. But it's powerful stuff when you see this through plateau. So it's important to understand these things, right? Because you have to send all line center when it comes into the tree formation. Okay, and communication to 26,000 line condition all levels and at 60,000 line connection. Putting positions and directions back in signal. Now this opens all communication to your graph lines. This puts you in all line center birth interference location to your DNA line center to a 12 DNA location to its calculations, all right, into 3 moon service line center. So this is where you come into 3 different connections, all levels of Wi-Fi into 1 location. 1 circuit is all you need in the heartline center. Okay, but you need 3 moonline center interference. Okay, so it's all position location of its directions, 3 gateways, stargate locations, past, present, future, and into 1 signal in position of directions. So it's all about taking 3 moonline centers in position locations into 1 circle location, right? In position, all in position location into yin and yang. Now this is the moon cross location, right? Flux capacitor, high channel, high position to ground line, center rotation interference. In position locations to all levels. Energy field line center, energy rotation cycle, in position location off direction. That opens all communication to its orb line rotation interference. Okay, so we're coming at orb communication. All right, orb communication is all based on you. It's all about understanding how you use the telepathy signals, the telepathy channel communication interference. It's all about how to use your 12 DNA, the transmitting and receiving location, right? How to understand how to use an orb, how to use it through high formation line centers, communicate with your finger points, your joint system locations, your barcode line centers, your plasma web communication system, seeing electrical wires going from all the way around, right? If you put 2 fingers together, right, like this, you can actually see the electricity above the locations. You look really close, you can see that it's communicating back, right? So it's like a magnet. And you keep doing that, you can feel the force. It's pretty powerful stuff. So you got to find a way to magnet the force line to communication at 3 line connections of this moon and bring it at 1 track location. That's one emotional got to be position location of its directions. Because if it's not, it's off signal. So this is where it comes into more formation line centers. You use one sun line center, which is all levels of your pixel activation line stream. That puts position of directions. That sets up your lights and communication system. More digitalize your line center locations to 001. This opens platitude division location to your triangle force lines. This puts you in a better communication system to your emotional track. Okay? How to use your practice line centers in all levels of your thought pattern locations. It's all determination on you. Keeping yourself positive, being positive, and positive, right? So you're dealing with more space line of magnetic force. It's position of you through direction. You have to really, really understand how to use this now. Because you're not dealing with one, you're dealing with 3. Okay? So there's a lot you guys have to understand. So it's a lot more easier now for you guys, but you can be a lot more off balance now, especially when you change your thought lines, right? It's like, whoa, too much on one side, and it's like magnetic. It's like trying to get out. You can't, right? Because you got too much on one side line system. Remember, you got all line center interference. Now, the capacitor and its position is its vortex chamber. That's communication to all levels of your infinity 8 cycle. That's your teleportation wave center. That opens all levels of your space command system. This puts you in a higher position location, how to channel in the right line center of the Earth line and the left in position location of its directions, right? So it's kind of like understanding how to use a radio signal. Trying to find the balance, right? You know, just trying to use the antenna location. Generally, calculation and so it's all levels of you to get out of the blur system and get out in the clarity line center, how to use motion interference to the moonbeam locations. So you got 3 moonbeam line centers and 1 center position location and directions. So what's going to happen is the moon's going to be surfacing like this, and the sun's going to be in the center line connection, right? That's how the heart's going to be set up in the 5th dimensional line rotation. So think about that. 3 moon line center. It's like juggling, right? So if you're juggling, what are you doing? One going up, one going down. One going up, one going down. That's exactly what's going to happen. But it's going to be circling, circling, circling at 3 line center location, 369 in position location and directions. 3,000 light signals, 6,000 pro location, a new Wi-Fi position, and 9,000 line centers of view through track line system to the heart system location, right? So it's very powerful what's going to happen now through an expansion. Yep. More alignments, channels, more interference locations, more spectrum light connections, more all levels of receptor location and position of directions. So the 3-point line center is now position location of you through direction. Okay. Your receptor line center in position locations. All right. So you got a moonlight center here, here, and here now, and the sun's in the middle. So it's all levels of you through track location. How you set these things up is all through plateau, but it's to understand the power of recognition of space and time puts you in timeline system, right? Of what you want to do is manifest location, right? So more transformations are coming in, high interference of directions, but these 3 moonbeams is going to change the coloration pattern. So it's going to put you in a fast cycle. Fast track high center location all levels of dimensional setting, resetting line conditions, right? Opening up the heart line central, communication to its surrender. So now you got to surrender to your weather patterns of northwest, south, and east now, because your position location is a full diamond line system. E equals m, velocity of diamond. Calculation modification line conditions. Leaving signal locations all levels of E equals mc squared, which no longer exist. Changing DNA path line center to a new receptor interference location to a new receptor line conditions all levels and its position of directions. Putting you guys in high channel line centers of 12 DNA track location. There's a lot of things coming up, guys. So many levels in interference position and directions. So taking track line centered in position location off lines, code setting locations, bring back position of the team interference and direction. You guys are back. Signal interference of high center, open all communication interference of directional locations. So it's understanding that all levels of view is understanding the connections. How to use flight navigation 1 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 12, 12 to 1. Really understand the count line center. Security position locations of perimeters. Set sectors, position locations of vectors. Open up communication cycles to yourself and to each other into position locations to higher formations of energy field line system. Okay. Balance communication on lines. So you got 1, 2, and 3 line centers of moons communicating with every single day. That's going to rotate its system location of its position. Sun is going to be in the center line connections of laser direction. All right. Putting you guys where you're supposed to be in the beginning line system is the future line connections, all levels of view through diversion. This puts you into high center. To understand the calculation modifications, where you came into formation to its alliance, right? Why is it so important to understand me through diversions? Why is it so important to understand me through crew, squads, the GFLs, the rebellion, the ascending, and the ascension locations of the gods locations? What is the importance of all this? Is its purpose on its own? Is to truly understand the geometrics of its travel of 3, 6, and 9. Right? So there's a lot to process. So everything we just finished doing, we cleared, right? All through code, position, location, and time system. Done by equation. So it's important you understand how to use more of yourself now, right? Because you have a lot more to deal with, right? Bioatmosphere, biokinetics, the Jurian theorem, high line centers of DNA interference locational levels. You just got to balance line conditional levels of the left and the right and the center position location. That's what you got to do now. Now, in sun position locations, you're going to come into high center line rotations. Why are you coming into 3 position locations of moons? Why? 369,000 line conditions of plateaus. 3 moon line center interference puts position, location, and directions. And then we come into position of what? All levels. Interesting, it's high line, center line, condition levels. But why doesn't the sun come in for interference position? No, we have to delete the program setting location of 3-dimensional line centers of space-line communication on its moon surface, putting position, location, line system, changing high centers of 6 plateau communications into 6 suns and 9 locations of view through 1% location. This channels up its position location to all line in its rotation. So once we get into 3 moon line center, 6 sun position location, the sun changes position in position location, and the moon goes in position location into the future line connections, putting everybody into their connection. A future line division. Hooah. Thumbs up. So there's a lot happening. Like I said, it's important you understand the protocol system location is all levels. All right? So, so it's interesting how we change these locations. How we go from the moon first, setting position locations, then we get into 6 suns, and we take the 6 suns in position, location, and directions, reverse the line center of 6 into 3 locations in position and directions into high line center locations. All right? So we come into an octagon high center location, octahedron. Octahedron line interference of direction location is its position, location, of its directions, putting everybody into the future line into 3, 6, 9. But the platted division location has to be deleted first to get in position location of 5th dimensional line. That's the transformation communication cycle that road graphs its location to 12 DNA. That opens all signals in position location high system to its antenna. High interference locations, right? You got 5 channel ops, 4 line connections, 3 line center interference, 3 position locations, in position, 6 position location of sun, okay, and 9 line centers in location. 3, 6, 9. All right. So once the 3, 6, 9 comes into plateau interference, the octagon high center line condition is going to change in position location of hemoglobin. high interference location on all lines. It's going to change position location of space. It's going to change position location of time. It's going to reset line condition on lines, and it's going to change the gravity shift line centers into more archetypal interference. Changing position of direction is truly transforming you into lines, putting you guys in transition patterns in communication system. That's going to rotate the cycles interference location to its scepter. It's going to open all position locations online, northwest, south, and east. You guys have to learn how to use the atmosphere locations when you see things come out of provision to its projection location. All right. So it's going to feel kind of weird at first because it's a program location in the Wi-Fi line center, 3 moon locations, 6 position locations of the sun, right? So it's all platted to division location line conditions, right? And 9 line centers of view through the 1% location. So this is where we come into force line communications to a new metric interference. This opens all line center to simulation. And this births you and your perceptions to your structures of your Gardens of Eden. And that's how we do these things. That's how I put you guys in hologram structure locations in the 5th dimension. You guys have to co-create what you've already created location of future line, put positions back in track line center, reverberate locations back into channel, back into the moon position location, into the sun lines, sun communication, moon position locations, back in interference location 9 line system, 369 plateau. All right. So there's a lot of things we all have to understand. It's a representation of you. Okay. But to move forward, we have to delete these things, reposition locations on where the moon's been, and relocations where the sun's been in position line conditions, all through computer location of its code system, right? And that's where we start. We start off the 26,000 line conditions of the bed of the stream location. This is the start of acceleration to a unified ascension line conditions of a singularity line position of interface. All right. Look at that. Went from 69 line center to 70 position locations into 14 line rotations, 1 position and 4 track location. It's interesting how it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we got 42 line centers into 20, 22, 23, 24, 25. Right? Stop there for a second line center. 26 was on pause in the interference position directions. It's amazing how you track interference location just through time sequence location. Right? So the clocking system, your watches are going to speed up faster. You're going to get flashlights, line interference, because now you're dealing with 3 moon locations. Not just 1, 3. That's the triangulation location of its position. So 3, 6, and 9 into the moon, 3, 6, and 9 into the sun, and 3, 6, and 9 into your location of your 1% line system. You put all those triangles together, force communication, bring it back in communication, balance in communication system. And then you see it start rotating. Okay? You see it from all lines center a spectral line rotation in the eye perception location. Right? That's what's happening now. Right? So it's all about putting things all together. All right? The official location is all levels how to put the 3 line centers of triangles into the 6 pattern interference of programs into line center locations of 9, 3, 6, and 9 into 1 position location of direction. And then it just opens up to a new beautiful cycle location like this. So it's a beautiful thing when you set these things up through the geometrics of view, okay, to the geometry of its position of its foundation, to its calculation of its geographic location, of its AI map, of its equation. So, all right. Shadow work, shadow work, shadow work more than ever now. So it's a lot of things that have to be done, guys. So many beautiful things come out. So this is all about understanding how to reset lines to geometry locations, to its foundation interference, to its geometrics of its shape locations, put in 3, 6, and 9 into position location of direction. Once we have that in center line conditions, we can now go into interline conditions. Your thought patterns will be in the future now. So that means you'll collect more line center locations or levels into your abundance and your position of directions. So every time you're channeling, you're going more into the future line. You're seeing more locations of 24, 48, 72. 3 days ahead, you're coming to ESP. It's a beautiful thing. External sensory perception location, a precognition, which is extremely powerful. You guys need all this line center so I can set up the highline interference position locations into the sixth dimension of geometric location. Once I set up, we come into new geometry center, in position to new simulation locations, in position location to new AI map of space and time. Step by step, we'll get there. Right? So, truth be told, in that center interference location, this will give you a better track line center, how to use more of your line conditions, how you use yourself through your telepathies. Communication, anything through telewaving, telecommunication, telegraphing, or anything of that system, or transformation, right? Transisting its position and location of its directions. Okay? So, anyway, you guys just got over half an hour just to go through the process. You know, we got Zoom coming up. I'm really excited to see what you guys have come up with. You know, really understand you through the geometrics of shape. That's travel. Try to understand you through the geometry of you. That's foundation of you. Try to understand the calculation of your geographical system, which is your AI map. And again, it's your intent. It's your will, your force, your creation, location. All right. See you guys on Zoom. Adios.